Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the Concrete Masonry Checkoff Region 3 Town Hall. I'm Alicia Hodges. I'm the Checkoff Program Director. We're so excited to have you joining us today. For our Town Hall this morning, we are in webinar format. So if you guys, your cameras are off, your microphones are muted out there, but we certainly want you to stay engaged throughout the Town Hall. So please drop into the chat where you are joining us from. If you have questions along the way, please put those into the Q&A. We can try to answer those questions as we go. We will also hopefully have some time at the end to do a brief Q&A. But we're so thankful to have you here. We have a lot of important updates for you. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to John Lorando, your Region 3 Chairman.
Thank you, Alicia. Yeah, we were just joking about mispronouncing people's names just as we were prepping for the meeting today. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Allow me to welcome you to the Town Hall for the Regional Advisory Committee or for Region 3. Thank you for attending. Again, like Alicia said, my name is John Lorando. I'm your chair for Region 3. I work for a family-owned company in Omaha, Nebraska, Watkins Concrete Block, and I've been happily serving as your chair for the last couple of years. I'd also like to recognize some other members or some other people that are on the call today. First off, I'd like to recognize our national board members from Region 3. We have Pat Sauter. Actually, Pat formerly was a secretary treasurer for the board. He is now vice chair. Melissa Klein, board member from Region 3, and Jim Gendron, board member from Region 3. I'm not going to recognize everyone's name or individually from Region 3, but I would like to recognize our vice chair, Bill Dawson. He's on the call now, and he'll be presenting to you later today. Bill's from a Concrete Products Group. Just before I get started, I'd like to thank all the hardworking people from regionally and nationally. We're a bunch of volunteers trying to promote our industry and working very hard to do that. Next up, let's go. I'm going to talk a little bit about our 5-year strategic plan. Okay, so as you can see, we have a clear vision and mission. We've established some values. As stewards of your funds, these are your funds. We will openly and honestly, collaborate, and as a team, be catalysts for change, so our products remain resilient long after we are all moved on from the industry. Specifically, our objectives: we do want to drive market share for CMU products. We want to grow our industry. We want to improve our standing and perceptions with the AEC community, and we identify that through the Net Promoter Score. We want to augment and maximize the impact of our funds by securing additional funds from other sources. And of course, we want to demonstrate to producers and mason contractors that Checkoff is delivering value to them. We've established 6 core focus areas within Checkoff. We've got our design assistance focus area. Most readily representative of this focus area is our Block Design Collective, which you'll be hearing from Tino later on in the presentation. He'll talk about the Block Design Collective and his activities in Region 3. Educating design pros. We're creating and distributing educational content to the AEC community. Concrete masonry outreach. We're supporting our efforts there, are supporting our attempts to create and retain a robust, labor workforce. We've got a marketing efforts. We're building interest and awareness of our products and driving specifications for concrete masonry. Codes and standards. We want to advance the competitiveness of masonry through improvements in building codes, both nationally and regionally. University relations, we're establishing relations with education and research universities to advance masonry technologies and develop the next generation of educators, the architects and engineers. A 5-year goal for the Checkoff over the next 5 years, we want to grow our market share by 20%. I think right now we're probably where are we now? We're in end of year 2 into year 3. And as you can see, this kind of this hockey stick growth. We're hoping in year 4, year 5, we just have surging growth where we're growing our market share, growing our revenue. And oh yes, I forgot we had this one coming. Thank you, Megan. So as you can see right now, our market share within concrete masonry, softwood lumber, structural steel, ICF, and tilt-up, we have a market share of approximately 5.3%. And if we want to, our target is to grow that share by 20% to 6.4% market share within 5 years. One reminder I want to just mention about this market share is this is market share growth. So even if the total industry, construction industry has a decline, say we go from 45 billion to 40 billion or something similar, our target is to grow our share. So even though we may have a decline in revenue, we will be successful if we're growing our share of that pie. So as we shared on our strategic plan slide, we have 5-year KPIs. And these are kind of, we've established these to support that strategic plan. For increasing CMU, I'm sorry, Megan, can you go back? I'm not quite done. My bad. So these KPIs, like I mentioned, they were established to support our objectives. We want to increase our market share of CMU by 20%. I won't go through each one of these, but we do want to identify and share with you the KPIs that we've established for our objectives, augmenting those checkoff dollars. We're going to find direct matching funds to help support our programs. We're going to find external funding. We're going to develop collaborative partnerships with other associations and organizations to help fund our programs. Investor relations, this is us demonstrating that value to you as producers and mason contractors. These are some KPIs we've established to ensure that we are demonstrating that value to you. And within our core focus areas, those 6 core focus areas for the Checkoff, we've established several KPIs within those areas. Marketing these targets will be driving engagement within the AEC community. The Block Design Collective, design assistance. I kind of speak those. I'm kind of interchanging those terms, but the design assistance, our Block Design Collective is supporting that core focus area, driving interaction with AECs, and creating opportunities for Tino and the other technical directors to provide project assistance. Educating design pros. These KPIs are driving our intent to distribute education and learning opportunities to those professionals. University relations. We want to grow opportunities. These KPIs are going to help us grow opportunities to educate and ensure masonry design is being is offered as courses at universities, and we're improving or growing our research opportunities to research masonry technologies. Masonry outreach, where these KPIs are supporting our efforts to target and train future masons. Finally, codes and standards. Those KPIs are going to support our efforts to establish and protect. I'm sorry, those targets have been established to protect and promote our industry. Here's an example of 5-year goal example of one of our KPIs. This is specifically for the investor relations, or demonstrating that tangible value to producers, to mason contractors. As you can see, if we do achieve our goals, it'll be a pretty significant positive results for our industry. This slide kind of just shows you that what we're trying to accomplish when we're communicating and representing our industry to the AEC community. We want them to see one unified voice. In the background, what we see, those of us are the producers, mason contractors, or various associations. There's many of us working together, driving demand, and we have all these different efforts that we're putting forth: marketing efforts, design support efforts, education, technical support. So there's a lot of different pieces happening in the background, but what we want the AECs to see is that one unified voice, that one message, the beauty of block message. Okay, it's time for me to turn it over to Melissa Klein. Melissa Klein is one of our national board members from Region 3, and she's going to update us on our financials. Melissa, all yours.
Good morning. Okay, so looking at Q1 of 2025, we collected as a whole $2,333,000 in assessments. And then life to date, beginning Q2 of 2023 through Q1 of 2025, that's 8 quarters, we've collected $21,699,000. Here's a snapshot of all regions year over year. And this is we have in 2023, 8,500,000 collected, 2024, 10,800,000, and then in January of 2025, 2.3 million. You will see some variances there. 2025 Q1 over 2024, there was a 10.74% variance. And you can see some softening that occurred beginning that Q4 of 2024 over 2023. That softening, with that said, the producers were surveyed, and it was telling that we expected a softening in the marketplace, so the budget was adjusted down by 7%. This is region. I won't go through each region individually. I'll just cover national. National right now, the budget was 3.6 million. The spend, the funding through that for programs, 3.5 million. And then region 3, our budget, 893,000, spend 835,000, leaving us with 57,000. The total assessments collected in Q1 of this year was 249,000. And you can see that breakdown by District A, which is in purple, and then Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, District C, which is in teal. One note on there that was not on the slide real quickly is that Q1 of 2024 was 306,000, if you're wondering the comparison, over 249,000 this year. That concludes my financial report.
Thank you, Melissa. And now it is time for our national and regional program updates. And Alicia Hodges is going to start us off. Alicia, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you, John. I'm so sorry I mispronounced your name earlier. Thanks for getting mine right. Anyway, hello, everybody. So I'm Alicia Hodges. I think I've met many of you out there. I'm the Checkoff Program Director. So we are excited to share some program updates with you today. We aren't going to cover every single program, but we're going to talk about some of the national ones and some of our Region 3 programs. So John already went through the Checkoff focus areas, and he also covered that 5-year strategic plan. And so one thing I want to mention is that 5-year strategic plan. How are we going to get to those KPIs? How are we going to achieve those items, it's going to be done through these programs. So the Checkoff has invested in between national and regional funding $13 million into programs. That's 82 programs. I think probably we got them up and running about just over, I would say, a year and a half ago is when we first got some of our programs up and running. So we've done a lot of work in a short amount of time. You can see the dollar amount that we've invested in each of the focus areas. The leading one being marketing. You will hear about a little bit about our national marketing effort, but more so what we're doing in Region 3 from a marketing perspective. A big investment into design assistance. Producers, investors said this was really a big one that they wanted to see us do, was have a design assistance program. And so you will hear about our national design assistance program today. You'll also hear from Tino, the Region 3 technical director. So I'm excited to share more of that with you today. We have invested $1.4 million into concrete masonry outreach. And I think John shared outreach is really educating youth about masonry and coming to work in this industry. And so we have a big national program in concrete masonry outreach. And then Region 3 has had a couple different regional ones as well. The next largest investment has been into university relations. University relations covers from curriculum integration all the way to research efforts. And so it's really that partnership with different universities, and we've invested $1.4 million there. Codes and standards, we do have a national effort. I'll share a little bit about that today with a $1.3 million investment into codes and standards. And then finally, educating design professionals at $1.2 million. And we'll share a little bit more about that with you guys here in a minute. So John, back to you for regional.
Okay, great. Thank you, Alicia. Similar to the previous national slide, this is the funding for Region 3. Region 3 has funded a total of 13 programs for $872,000. And as you can see here, the bulk of our investment or our program funding has been in the design assistance focus area. And these amounts here very closely aligned to Region 3's priorities. At our first RAC meeting in June of 2023, the RAC, the Regional Advisory Committee, RAC for short, for those of you that may not be familiar with that, but we established our priorities. And number one priority right out of the gate was design assistance. In fact, at our very first meeting, we would have funded a design center, on day one. We were that excited about it, a design center, which has now become the Block Design Collective. And then marketing, concrete masonry outreach were very important on our priorities. And so the funding that we've recommended to the board and the board has approved do closely align with Region 3's priorities. Next slide, Megan. All right, so some of the Region 3 programs that we have funded over the last couple of years. Some of these, if you have been on a call before, you may have heard about some of these programs. But the first few programs on this slide here, the first three were put together and submitted by our very own Phil Ledent. Phil's a member of our regional committee. Those pre-edited masonry standards, MIM contracted with Amy Baker to develop those specifications for the most common wall assemblies. We developed a library of Autodesk Revit standard details that cover the majority of our masonry details for single withe walls and cavity walls. And then we created on that third one, strength design of concrete masonry walls. We created a PowerPoint presentation on strength design of concrete masonry for structural engineers. And Phil has been traveling the region and the country and educating structural engineers attending their local engineering conferences. The fourth one on the list there, the TMS, sorry, not quite done, Megan, sorry. The fourth one on the list, the TMS annual meeting travel. We funded 2 contractors to attend the TMS meetings, the annual meetings, and those contractors are getting involved in committees at the TMS meetings, supporting the industry from the contractor's perspective. The TMS Masonry Educators Workshop. This is a program that we requested funding for. It was approved, board approved, but we're waiting for TMS to schedule the next educators workshop. And when they do, we'll be sending some professors to that workshop. The Region 3 Block Design Collective and the Mobile Masonry Unit Demonstration Unit, we'll hear from Tino and Kurt later in the presentation this morning. Same with the Region 3 Marketing Program. We'll hear from Anna later in our presentation. The next one is CE 443 Design of Masonry Structures. We funded a program through the Masonry Institute of St. Louis, and they funded a program for University of Southern Illinois, Edwardsville, where for 3 years, 2 semesters per year, we are educating students on design of masonry structures. So far, I think 1 semester is complete, and they had 44 students enrolled in the class. So they have 5 more semesters to go. The next 2 on the slide here, we will be talking more about later in the presentation. Region 3 Codes and Standards Promotion. That is a kind of a second round, a continuation from the last slide for the 2 contractors that we sent to the TMS meetings. This fall, it'll be in Oklahoma City, and we're sending those same 2 contractors to attend and stay involved with TMS at the community level. The last one here, expanding and enriching concrete masonry classes. Dr. Jennifer Tanner is actually supporting or working with all 5 regions. She's developing a mentoring program to help professors that are interested in teaching masonry. So within our region, we're going to find 2 to 4 professors that want to teach masonry, and Dr. Tanner will help them develop a curriculum and course offering for teaching masonry design. For those of you that are interested, scan this QR code. This will take you to a recording for the National Town Hall. The National Town Hall was last month, I think it was last month in June, but similar to today's Town Hall, which is regionally focused on Region 3. This recording is the National Town Hall from last month. All right, I'm going to turn it over. As you saw earlier, we have a program for the Block Design Collective that we're supporting Tino, and I'm going to turn it over to Tino. He's our Region 3 Technical Director for the Block Design Collective. Tino, it's all yours.
Thanks, John. So thanks everyone for joining, and I'm really excited to talk about the Design Collective. So before we dive into, I did want to give a bit of a background. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tino Kalile. I'm a licensed structural engineer. I worked in Wisconsin for many years and just moved down to the Chicagoland area. So my bachelor's is in environmental engineering, and then I didn't like the smell of sewage water, so I decided to get my master's because I didn't want to be an environmental engineer. And then 8 years later, here I am. I've got extensive experience in structural new builds, adaptive reuse, facade engineering, and then for a couple years, I actually went to and worked for the Checkoff of Woodworks, doing promotion education for them after I worked on a mass timber project. When I saw that a Checkoff was forming for concrete masonry, I was so excited. When I was working, wood was tough, but concrete masonry is really tough to design with, and there's a lot of gray area, and it wasn't really clear to designers. A lot of schools, and including me, I didn't learn concrete masonry in school, and so when I saw that one of the pillars that we looked at earlier was university relations, it sold me on the concrete masonry Checkoff. So I was brought on December of 2024, and it's been a busy year so far. So the Block Design Collective is still forming. So I was the first technical director, and you'll kind of see when we talk about metrics how Region 3 is kind of leading the effort within the BDC. But we are launching in September of this year. And our goal is really to create buzz and awareness within the community and within the producers, and be able to share what we've been working on in the back end for the last 9 months. What we'll have ready is we'll have a full team. We've got 3 of the 5 directors on board right now. We're developing resources, helpful resources for everyone. We'll have a live BDC website where you can search and connect with us. And then we are rolling out regular, consistent education efforts that's coming just out of the BDC on top of the Block Learning Hub. And then how we're kind of going to be communicating our launch is through paid media ads and engagement. We'll be arming the producers with every resource you can have to be able for you guys to share it as well. And then as many marketing resources as we can give you. So whether that's brochures, collaterals, about the BDC slides to incorporate into your presentation, videos, etc. So we really just want to get this out there and be able to be a useful resource for you guys. And I'll talk about a little bit about what that means. So if we boil down what Block Design Collective is in 4 buckets, the first is online resources. Though we want to be design assistants, when we think a step back, what does design assistance means? And the first step of that is really online resources. We're just trying to create these useful resources that can be utilized for you, the producers, but also the AEC community. So when there is project-specific assistance needed, that's where we think the second bucket, concept proposals, work. Well, we'll help develop preliminary designs, cost estimate, whether you want both of them or just one of them. Our goal with this one is to be able to help designers be comfortable and confident on their masonry designs, and really it's just to ensure that you're considering masonry. And we'll talk about in a little bit where the producer's role in all this is, because I think there's a pivotal role that you guys play, but we can do that. And you'll see me talk about it in a little bit, but think of me as the engineer down the hall with an open door policy. You can just pop in, whether it's a quick question or a very in-depth question, whether something went wrong and you need help. We're really here to just help. And rather than think of, oh, can they help me with this? Can they help me with that? I can help you with anything. Just ask me anything, and we're here to just help answer it. And if I cannot answer it myself, please trust that we have a network of people that I will reach out to ensure that not only you get an answer, but you get the correct answer. The third bucket is education and training. So we're developing these online resources. We're helping with project-specific targets, but in this whole process, we have to educate and train designers as well. So the resources that we're developing, whether it's technical content or presentations, we're going to be ensuring that this goes out, whether it's lunch and learns or conference presentations. I've already started to do it where we've had big audiences to be able to communicate what the checkoff is, the importance, but why masonry is so valuable and how it can really benefit every project. And then the last one is that project support. So if the first 3 buckets didn't cover it, the last one does. Our goal is to be responsive, resourceful, and reliable. And it's local. It's the best deal in town. It's free. It's free for designers, but please don't mistake that. It's also free for the producers. We're just there, right? So every producer in Region 3 should understand that they now have an engineer in their staff ready to help. So, like I said, it's been a busy first half of the year. So these are the Block Design Assistance goals, and this is as a national effort. So amongst all 5 regions and national, these are what we think that we were able to accomplish in our first year. And you'll see that Region 3 really does lead the effort because we have a lot of momentum. The rack is fantastic. John's doing a great job as chair. John and Bill are. We've got a lot of help and resources. John mentioned Phil leading some efforts as well, and he's been pivotal in this process as well. So you'll see, like, our goal of 25 for the year, Region 3 has done 17 of them. And we've exceeded our year 1 goal halfway in. And that doesn't mean we're stopping. We're continuing to push. Our AEC interactions, how many AECs has been able to hear me speak? How many have I been connected to? nearly 1,100 of the 1,800 of our goals. So we've reached that. Projects assisted, this one is where I really think I need your help. So I can go out and I've been telling AECs or architects, engineers, hey, let me help with your project. Let's consider masonry and see if it's a good fit. We're working towards that, and we've been able to help with over 50 technical inquiries so far. And the preliminary design and design assist projects, I got two just this last week that I'm helping with, but that's continuing to roll in. And a lot of that has been through the efforts of producers or industry folks helping and believing in that block design collective can help them. And I've plugged in and been able to show value. And we think that we can do that across the entire region and across the entire nation. So to just kind of boil down efforts, right? So there's a bunch of dabbling that I'm doing and a lot of things that we're working on, but I wanted to kind of do a simple focus on what are the three things to take away from the Block Design Collective here. We can do all this stuff, but what are the three things that my focus has been on? And that's developing helpful industry resources. Keyword on helpful. We're promoting market driving movements. What are new avenues that or you guys as producers or mason contractors or designers can go to target additional scope for masonry? And then the last one is, of course, focusing on that free project support. As a structural engineer on the side of the design community, and if I didn't know something, I felt very weary of going out to someone that I've never talked to before and asking for help and then trusting their response. And so that trust level, it takes time to develop. And so we need to start now and get across and then build that trust with the design community that we are a reliable form of project support. So I'll dive into these three in a little greater detail. So the first being developing helpful industry resources. So these are three of my efforts, and it takes time. So the first one being a delegated design guide. And for anyone who's not familiar with delegated design, I'm so happy to dive into it with you. But I really think that this is a great push in our region, and our region's really set up for it to allow the specialty engineers that know concrete masonry to design the concrete masonry of scope. This is no different than other market sectors that have been doing it for years and have found great success. So why not concrete masonry? Give them an avenue. This isn't so much as an innovation, but just a process that we must normalize. So the presentation I've been given around is normalizing delegated design of concrete masonry structures. The second one that follows is once we were able to normalize that delegated design effort, we can now open up this new pathway for prefabrication. And I've started working on a prefabrication design guide of how do we normalize prefabrication as just another opportunity for concrete masonry to be delivered. This includes also what's upcoming in the code for allowances, including dry stack. So it's really trying to be forward thinkers and normalize all the upcoming trends and capitalizing on it and being experts of those topics so that the producers and the AEC community can reach out and we can provide guidance to give them comfort and support. And then the last one is one that was actually a program that Region 3 had approved with Phil Ledent's work. It was for $1,250 of where he developed typical Revit details for his Masonry Association, the MIM. And I looked at that and I said, that's a great idea. Now, how do we broadcast that so it's applicable to the entire region? So we took that program and now we're applying it to the entire region with a plan to apply it to the entire nation. And that's one thing the Checkoff can do really well is the successes of one region, how do we apply it to the other four? So could you go to the next slide? Here's an example. This is a snip early on where we took a typical detail and as a designer, the goal is to really feel comfort in the detailing process, right? There's nothing more scary as a designer than specifying a detail and fingers crossed that it works. Well, let's help with that. Let's help design community with that. Let's create typical details. Let's know every designer note that you may need to know to feel comfortable and feel like an expert for it. If there's any relevant calculations, let's provide that. Let's be as transparent as possible with these details that are used every day and trust that it is a vetted detail in the masonry community. And so we're working through that, and I want to say that it's over 60 details that are complete and currently going through industry review. And it's really primarily targeted as low seismic, which is primarily most of our region, with plans for the end of the year to include more seismically controlled details, and then in 2026 to apply even more to just give a full array. So while we do preliminary designs and concept proposals, that's great, but now you have all this additional drawing information that can be applied for free. And so it's a perfect example of using some of the programs or the ideas that the industry has and expanding it in a way that can be applicable for everyone. So let's talk about free project support. What does that mean? What does that mean for producers, for contractors, for engineers, for architects? So let's focus on the left side of the left side. Producers. When I say I provide free project support, what does that translate to? So first being technical support. Anything you have. Look, we have resources. There's CMHA out there. There's tons of resources already out there, and it can be overwhelming. Let me be the person to be able to sift through that stuff and give you that correct answer and give you that in confidence. Second being staff training and knowledge growth. Please invite me to your sales meetings to talk to your reps about how to utilize myself and the Checkoff's programs and our resources to the maximum of your capability so that you can outreach that to the AECs. Because right now we're just a team of 6 people right now, and then plan to be 8. So we can't be everywhere at every time, but as a group we can. Help with local challenges. Are there any market struggles? Share that with me and then see how I'll work to figure out how can we help. Recently, I took trips to Omaha market and really dove in to talk about what are the challenges that they're seeing in concrete masonry. We met with GCs, we met with structural engineering firms, and I'm going out there in a couple weeks again as a follow-up to make sure we're capturing as many people as we can. And we've seen great success and feedback in that. And finally, GCs are giving opportunities for us to be able to propose something with masonry and just consider it. So we're seeing success in that. And I'm hoping we can target all the markets across the region for that. Project engagement is plug us in early on, and we can kind of help answer a lot of the struggles that maybe are going on in your project. And that's in that concept or SD or concept or DD phase. And maybe if you're not engaged, put us in and then we'll help track that project so that when it goes out for bid, you know that that's a concrete masonry project. And because we touched it, you know that it is an efficient, well thought through system. And then, like I said earlier, we are your engineers in your office. Not just your engineer, we're your architect, we're your technical consultant, your energy code compliance, your fire, anything. Just reach out. And again, like I said, I'm not telling you that I know it all, but please trust that I can help get you that answer. And then while we're there primarily for you guys, the producers, contractors, engineers, architects, I'm working to kind of show value for them so that they could reach out as well. Here's an example of a preliminary design and project proposal, and we're really trying to streamline this process, but just want to tell you guys a story. This was a developer in the Kentucky market that wanted to build a gymnasium and a wellness center, and he didn't know where to start. He was considering multiple different material choices, but very cost focused. So once we kind of understood his priority, we were able to develop a structural design, drawing, layout for easy cost estimating. We worked with a producer. A producer actually brought this into us. We were able to deliver it to show value. And this wasn't just structure. We really worked with them to ensure energy code compliance and fire as well. So we turned these drawings out, got an estimate, in probably less than a week's effort. It took a little time for back and forth, but we're really hoping to streamline this and be able to do this for other markets. And then the last thing is promoting this market driving movements. So I had mentioned we working with delegated design, and our goal is to help normalize that process, but then following up to dry stack and prefabrication in 2026. So if you can go to the next slide, this is a little sample of that delegated design guide where we're helping distribute what the roles and responsibilities are. And the goal is this is just a standard guide to be able to kind of help the producer, the delegate design engineer, the architect, the engineer, the contractor assign responsibilities on what's normal and hold people accountable to help streamline this and normalize this effort. So this is one of the resources that we're working through to develop. And I put little beauty of block logos with arrows on where we think we can show value. So we can help the EOR during those early design stages prime their project to put enough information for the mason contractor and the producer to bid and make it predictable so that they're matching what the market can offer. And then we can help the mason contractor for anything in between. Whether it's if there's scope gaps and they reach it out, we can work with the project team to help streamline this and be that support to make sure it's as smooth of a process during this transition period. So final takeaway is just let me help you. Reach out to me with any questions. If you've got upcoming or anticipated projects that you're not even involved with or you see in your market, I'll work and I'll help to try to tap into that project and get masonry on there. Or really right now, my goal is to just get them to consider masonry. But if you have projects, issues with even ongoing projects or ones that are in construction, we're just here to help. We're free, so you have nothing to lose, right? My email's there, and that's my personal phone number. If you call me, please leave me a voicemail if I don't answer, and then you can always text me as well, but email probably works best. Well, thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Tino, thank you very, very much. Before moving on, I do want to say just a couple things, and I know it's 10:42. We've got a little bit left to go, but I have to make a couple comments about Tino's work. We're very lucky to have Tino. We're in very good hands with Tino. I've seen Tino work. I've seen him present. I've seen him formally present. I've seen him in formal settings with engineers and GCs, and he's great. We all need to take advantage of Tino's skill set and get him involved. And I'll repeat what he said a couple times. He works for us. He wants to help us. He wants to help our sales teams. For those of us producers that have, commercial sales teams or masonry sales people, introduce them to Tino so they have that access to him and that resource. He's ready to help us. When he was in Omaha helping us, the engineers and the GCs we visited, they were craving and so ready and open to our meeting with them and just informally talking about concrete masonry. They're ready for our help and they need it. So that's just what I'd like to say about Tino. Please, mason contractors, producers, reach out to Tino whenever you get a chance. Introduce yourselves and get him involved in your markets to help you out. Again, Tino, thank you very much. Next up is our marketing update from Clutch, our partner Clutch, our marketing partner Clutch Performance. And here to give us that update is Anna. Anna, it's all yours.
Thank you, John. So I'm going to talk just briefly a little bit about the national marketing campaign. Big key part of this has been kind of creating the standard unified message about the beauty of block. And a big part of that this year has been kind of establishing what is the beauty of block. So it goes beyond just the aesthetics. We're talking about strength. We're talking about sustainability, savings. It's stylish. It's all the things you're looking for and more. And it's that unified message and the identity that's been established that we're trying to make sure is consistent across all the different media channels and points of contact that we make. So that's kind of the background. That's been a key part, kind of defining what the beauty of block is as we move into more of that kind of Region 3 focus on what we're trying to do with marketing. So specifically in Region 3, we're trying to identify kind of what the beauty of block is. And we've seen a lot of good success. This is just on a national level, kind of showing the KPIs. these key performance indicators are giving us the sense that this message is resonating. We're meeting the goals and exceeding those goals in terms of establishing a number of leads, a lot of interactions with architects and engineers and contractors, exceeding our goal for data points and website visits. So the message has been well received. The message is getting out there. And specifically, as we talk about what's happening in Region 3, I think the focus has really been on, and this kind of saying how each region has its own messaging that kind of ties back to the beauty of block. For us in Region 3, I think the focus has really been on what we just talked about with Tino. It's on establishing kind of the idea of the design assistants and the Block Design Collective as a resource. So a lot of the articles that have been published recently, you've probably seen them showing up in Crane Chicago. We've seen them Finance and Commerce, Louisville Business Journal. These are all kind of trying to tie back to the idea of both the beauty of block, but also making sure that Tino's name is out there, that he's our subject matter expert, that people know about the Block Design Collective and they know where to go to get more information. The other side of this has been really promoting these key programs like the Mobile Masonry Tour. And we're going to hear a little bit more about that later, but trying to make sure that this information gets out there, and not just in, say, paid publications like Crane Chicago or Finance and Commerce, but social media. We've got some great posts out there for Region 3 to start sharing out on their own social media channels to get the word out, to get good word of mouth going, especially for a great program like the Mobile Masonry Tour, and finding ways to continue to promote this message. We're seeing good results too. I just checked to see, I think it's been over 1.8 million impressions that Region 3 has made just this year alone based on the paid media plan that's out there. So people are hearing this message, they're interested, they're excited, and we just want to kind of keep up this momentum. And anything that everyone here on the call can do to try to share that message through social media is going to be a great step forward, because I think it means a lot coming from people that they know, as opposed to just the big trade publications where we also want to establish a lot of presence. But getting out there on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook is going to make a big push towards getting the beauty of block and Tino's message out there as well. And John, I think that's all I have, and I'll turn it back to you so you can let, I think, Alicia take the next piece.
Okay, Anna, thank you very much for that
Thank you.
update of Region 3 marketing efforts. I'll keep us moving along. It's going to go back to Alicia. Alicia's going to have some updates on our national codes and standards efforts, as well as some updates on the Block Learning Hub and our National Masonry Outreach Program. Alicia, it's all yours.
Yes, thank you. That's correct. I am presenting on behalf of Nick and Ben for the National Codes Program. And again, I'm not going to go into too much detail here because we did do a national town hall. So if you want more detail on these national efforts that I'm about to share with you, please go watch the national town hall. From a national perspective, Nick and Ben are leading our codes effort, and they're focused really on building a team of subject matter experts that will engage in codes areas, in structural, fire safety, energy, material science, and environmental technologies. So they're going to engage for those on a national effort. And so that's what they're working on from their perspective. They have already increased voting and forum participation by 20%. They've increased the number of subject matter experts engaged in codes work nationally by 67%. They've had 2 national code improvements, actually. And then we do have some regions that have regional codes programs that are going very, very well. Region 4 has a codes program. And then also, so does Region 2, where they have a contractor out there working on local codes. And then you guys also have your own Region 3 codes program where you have contractors engaged at codes work at TMS. So we've seen 4 regional code improvements, which is exciting, and had just over 1,300 hours in codes education. The Block Learning Hub is a resource that is already up and running for you guys. We have 8 courses in our Block Learning Hub that you can take. These are virtual courses. They're really for you and for the AEC community. So after I'm done speaking, I will drop the link into the chat for you to go build an account, take some of the courses, and then it's absolutely a resource that you can share with designers that you know, where they can go and take courses and earn free PDHs and free AIA credits. So that's important. And it's a really great resource. As you can see, we have one channel in the Block Learning Hub for the AEC community. We have 8 courses in there right now, but there are more coming. We have 246 LMS accounts, and we've already reached 1,600 designers. And so please, once I drop that into the chat, go visit, and then also share that URL with designers that that you know as a resource. All right, next slide. And then finally, concrete masonry outreach. So concrete masonry outreach from a national perspective, this program is led by MCAA, Jeff Buckowitz, and Robert Melgard. Nationally, really the goal is to educate, inspire high school students to pursue careers in masonry, equip educators with tools and resources to present career opportunities, recruit and retain masonry instructors, and maintain a strong presence at career fairs and industry showcase events. I do have one exciting update to share with you guys. They have hired a Region 3 Director of Youth Outreach and Education, and his name is James McCoy. So he just got hired. He will soon be out there working in Region 3 for you guys to really just educate high schoolers about joining the industry. So that is exciting. More to come on that. And so they've reached 4,500 students year to date. They've incorporated into states. They've incorporated NCCER curriculum into 10 new states. They've had over 8 outreach events. And then really their goal with this national program is to be self-funded. So they're working to get some grants. And in 5 years, they would like to be to fund themselves, and then we can use those dollars to go do something else. So a lot of really great things happening with this national program. Okay, I'm going to turn over to, well, John, I will turn it back to you.
Alicia, thank you very much. Appreciate those updates. Next up for us is Dr. Kurt Helgeson from St. Cloud State University in Minnesota. And he's project lead for a program funded by Region 3, the Mobile Masonry Demonstration Unit. And Kurt, it's all yours to give us an update.
Well, good morning, and thank you, everybody. We're excited to partner with the region. We've got a very unique outreach program that we work with lots of different high schools in industries to try to promote different technical careers. So what this trailer has allowed us to do is to make 2 new technology related pieces of industry mobile to take it to different events. So we've got the semi-automated mason and the mule on this trailer that we will take to all 11 states in the region. So far, we've traveled several sites in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Ohio to different either career fairs or high schools, and show off some of the new technology that's available to try to spark kids' interest that maybe wouldn't normally think about a technical career in masonry. So we're working with the different regions to try to identify, or the different states to try to identify events that would work for that. We collect data from the teachers, students, and industry folks who see this to say, hey, what difference did this make? Did this spark an interest for you? And then try to connect them with, local companies that might have career opportunities for them, or point them to where they can get training in the industry. So kind of unique program. We really enjoy being part of the industry.
Kurt, thank you very much for that update. Just a reminder to those of you on the call, or just a communication about Dr. Helgeson's program. If you would like to have the mobile masonry unit visit your state, just get in contact with him and get something scheduled. I know we're working on something right now with our local Masonry Association to have them come visit a couple high schools in Nebraska. I've got a couple updates for some programs for you now. This one, educating students on masonry materials and careers. This was a program we funded in Ohio. What we funded in this program was we're providing support to entry-level, it's an entry-level support for masonry introduction to students on masonry materials and the masonry trade, specifically for these students that were enrolled in the Career Connection program in Ohio. The target was I think our KPI target was 800 students. And, oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm getting my programs confused. That was a different program. But the 150 students that we did reach in this during this program did meet our KPI target. And we saw an increase in masonry apprentices. And there's been a gradual increase in age of students, apprentices at 28 years old, and they were able to lower that age significantly to 22 years old. So they've been trying to reach those younger students, and this program provided that opportunity and was a success. The next program, TMS Travel. So as you know, as you've heard today, we funded a couple Mason contractors to attend TMS and really get involved at the committee level. We also, I think every region in Checkoff, except maybe one, is also funding, we're sending students, university students, either juniors, seniors, graduate level students to attend the TMS meetings, students that are interested in structural masonry, get them involved in the codes process, the codes deliberation process, what's happening at TMS. We'll probably have, some of these students might have their professor join them on the visit to the meetings. So this program is going to fund about 4 students, and maybe a professor to attend TMS in the fall, October in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Okay, next up, I'm going to turn it over to our vice chair, Bill Dawson's going to kind of wrap things up for us. Bill,
okay, thank you, John. Yeah, they've given me about the last 5 slides, so my goal is not to derail all the momentum that's been created so far. I'd like to talk about how you can get involved, and I think whether you want to be formally involved or informally involved, there's lots of opportunities here. A lot of it has to do with spreading the word. So, the first 3 goals we see here, you can get involved by sharing AEC contacts, producer contacts with Checkoff so that they can spread the word to them about the opportunities that are there. I think Tino explained really well why we want to drive architects, engineers, and contractors to the Block Learning Hub and the Design Collective. I think anything you send Tino, he will be delighted to help you with, and I think you'll be delighted with the job that he does. Ultimately, success of Checkoff is going to be driven by the AEC community accepting Block better. And the best way to get there is to feed the opportunities that we've created with some of these new initiatives, such as the Design Collective. Share the updates among your producers and industry friends. If you have expertise that you'd like to share, there's an avenue for that in the Block Learning Hub, which is developing a whole library of educational resources, including AIA webinars, training sessions, etc. And then finally, you can get involved at a regional or state promotional level. I love that Bob. I know that stands for Beauty of Block, but Bob, get involved with Bob. But do that. Honestly, there's going to be a number of opportunities there. So this is your Checkoff. Make sure you take advantage of the opportunities that it creates. We have a couple of sets of meetings coming up at the national level. There will be program updates at the CMHA in Naples. There's also a board meeting in November. All of the regions will have a fall meeting where program evaluations will continue. Our region is going to have our meeting in Michigan at September 23rd and 24th. We also have opportunities to get involved formally. If you're a producer, you're eligible to participate on the Checkoff board. There will be openings. There are openings currently, and encourage you to scan the QR code to apply for those. There's a process involved that includes the Department of Commerce, but put your hat in the ring and get involved at the national level. And finally, we also have a need for help at the regional level. We've got a great regional advisory committee. Terms are coming up. John has a 3-year term. I have a 4-year term. Not quite sure how that worked out that way, but we're going to be looking for changes in leadership. We're going to be looking for changes and additions to our membership. All of our advisory committee members have terms as well, and would encourage everyone to get involved with this. It's a great networking opportunity. You do not have to be a producer to participate in the Regional Advisory Committee. And then finally, there's a lot of information available on the producer portal. You can scan that QR code in the corner there and get a link to it. It's a great way to keep up to date in terms of things that are happening with Checkoff. And I'm now going to turn it over to Alicia to moderate questions and answers.
Thank you, Bill, so much. And thank you to all the program leads who presented. Really appreciate that. At this time, if you have any, I know we're just a couple minutes past the top of the hour. If you have any questions, please drop them into the Q&A and we can get those answered for you. So, yeah, let us know.
Well, while you guys are thinking about your questions, I just wanted to thank John and Bill for leading a great rack. You guys are really leading the way, as you heard, on the design assistance and all that you guys are doing with Tino and the Block Design Collective. So thank you guys, John and Bill, for your leadership. And then for the other folks you heard from, they're really the boots on the ground that are making our programs happen. So thank you all for your effort and for joining us on the call today.
Thank you, Kim. And so everybody, I just dropped into the chat the link to the Block Learning Hub. So if you guys want to snag that quick, that would be great. Otherwise, I don't see any questions coming in. I think we can go ahead and wrap it up. John, Bill, I'll turn it over to you guys to wrap us up.
Thanks, Alicia. Yeah, I just realized that we're 3 minutes past due, but there's still 58 people on the call, so they're listening. I realized that I failed to introduce Kim earlier. I'm sorry about that, Kim. When we had our first meeting back in June of 2023, we had an interim CEO and no other Checkoff staff. That was it. And since then, we've got Kim, we've got Alicia, we've got Riley, we've got Tino, Chuck, and Lauren. Lauren, right? And maybe we have others. I don't know, but we have quite the team on Checkoff. Kim Spahn is our CEO, and since she's joined our Checkoff, we have made progress leaps and bounds. It's amazing to have her. And Alicia, thank you very much for all your support. Riley, I don't know if you're on the call today, but Tino, thank you for everything you're doing. And thank you all the producers, mason contractors, anybody else that joined the call today. Reach out to us, connect with Tino, connect with us in any way you can. If you want to help, get involved. We're all volunteers, so we need lots and lots of help. So please get involved if you'd like. Bill, do you have anything you want to add to the effort today?
Just would like to thank everybody for participating today. I know it's an hour out of your day, but we appreciate you taking the time to get an update.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining us and have a great rest of your morning and afternoon. Thank you. Goodbye.